Success doesn't announce itself. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need validation. Instead, it grows quietly, like a seed buried deep in the soil, taking root in silence before breaking through the surface for the world to see. But most people can't resist the urge to tell the world what they're planning. They feel the need to declare their ambitions, to share their dreams, to seek approval. They believe that saying it out loud makes it real, that announcing their plans will keep them accountable. But in reality, the opposite happens. The more you talk about what you're going to do, the less likely you are to do it. A few years ago, a young entrepreneur had what he believed was $1 million idea, an innovative app that could change the way people manage their finances. The moment he thought of it, he told everyone, his friends, his colleagues, even strangers at networking events. Every time he talked about it, he felt a surge of excitement. People encouraged him. Some even said, "That's genius. You should definitely build it." And so he kept talking, but talking was all he did. The more he spoke about the idea, the less urgent it felt to actually start building it. He got lost in discussions, brainstorming sessions, and hypothetical scenarios. He convinced himself that by sharing his vision, he was making progress. But months passed and nothing happened. Then one day he saw a news article. Someone else had launched exactly the same idea. The product was live. The company was growing. His $1 million vision was now someone else's reality. This happens more often than people realize. Talking about your goals gives you a false sense of accomplishment. It tricks your brain into feeling as if progress is being made when in reality, nothing has changed. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon for years. Bluma Zygarnik, a Soviet psychologist, discovered what is now known as the Zygarnik effect, the tendency for people to remember unfinished tasks better than completed ones. In other words, when you have a goal that remains private, your brain keeps it alive, reminding you that there's work to be done. But the moment you share that goal, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that rewards actual achievement. You feel accomplished without having done anything. And just like that, the urgency to act fades. This is why the most successful people move in silence. They don't announce their plans. They don't waste energy seeking approval. They don't let words replace action. They protect their ambitions like a fragile ember, shielding them from the winds of doubt and distraction until they are strong enough to burn on their own. Think about Warren Buffett. He never reveals his investments before making them. He operates in secrecy, studying the market, executing his strategy, and only after the deal is done does the world find out. Why? Because the moment you announce your plan, you invite interference, opinions, criticisms, competition. Buffett understands that speculation is noise, action is power. Or look at Apple. Steve Jobs didn't spend years talking about how he was going to reinvent the mobile industry. He built in silence. He let his team work in secrecy. And then, when the iPhone was ready, the world saw it, not as an idea, not as a concept, but as a finished product that changed everything. Now think about your own life. How many times have you shared a goal with someone, only to feel your motivation slip away afterward? How often have you been met with skepticism that planted doubt in your mind? Or worse, how many times have you seen someone else execute an idea you once talked about? Silence is a superpower. It protects your energy. It shields you from unnecessary distractions. It allows you to focus completely on execution without the burden of expectation. Starting today, make a decision. Stop announcing your plans. Stop seeking validation. Start building. Because in the end, success doesn't need an announcement. It needs action. Some people fail before they even start. Not because they lack the ability, but because they expose their plans too soon. Talking about your goals does more than just weaken your motivation. It makes you vulnerable. It strips away your power. It turns your dreams into targets for criticism, doubt, and even competition. A young entrepreneur once had an idea for a revolutionary online platform. He believed it could disrupt an entire industry. Excited, he started talking about it to friends, to colleagues, to people at networking events. Every time he spoke, he felt more confident. People seemed impressed. Some even asked how they could get involved. But he made a fatal mistake. Among those he told was an investor who had connections, money, and a team ready to execute. That investor took the idea and built it himself, faster, bigger, and better. By the time the entrepreneur was ready to launch, his vision was already someone else's reality. He didn't lose because he lacked skill. He lost because he talked too soon. This happens more often than people realize. Talking about your goals doesn't just create a false sense of accomplishment. It also exposes your plans to unnecessary risks. First, it attracts doubt and negativity. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Some people will question your vision, not because they want to help, but because your ambition makes them uncomfortable. They will highlight every possible flaw, every challenge, every reason why it won't work. The more you hear it, the more you start to believe it. Second, it creates pressure without progress. When you talk about a goal before making real progress, you invite expectations. People start asking, so, how's that project going? If you haven't made significant strides, you feel the weight of those questions. That pressure doesn't help. It paralyzes. Instead of being motivated, you feel overwhelmed by the need to prove yourself. Finally, and most dangerously, it gives others an opportunity to act before you do. The world is full of people who take ideas and execute them faster than the ones who originally thought of them. Business history is filled with examples of companies that dominated markets with ideas that weren't theirs to begin with. Facebook wasn't the first social network. Google wasn't the first search engine. Apple didn't invent the smartphone. The difference? They executed better and faster than the ones who came before them. This is why the most successful people in the world don't waste energy on premature announcements. Elon Musk doesn't reveal Tesla's innovations until they're ready for production. Jeff Bezos built Amazon's infrastructure before anyone understood what he was doing. Warren Buffett doesn't discuss his investments before making them. They all understand that power is in execution, not speculation. So, the next time you feel the urge to share your plans, stop. Ask yourself, am I talking because I need real feedback? Or am I just seeking validation? Am I strengthening my vision? Or am I exposing it to unnecessary risk? Because in the end, your success should be a statement, not a conversation. There is a reason why the most powerful moves in history were made in silence. The greatest breakthroughs, the biggest victories, the most unexpected successes, all happened behind closed doors before the world ever knew they existed. Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It is a shield, a strategy, a tactical advantage that protects you from forces that can derail your success before it even begins. Most people don't understand this. They think silence is a weakness, that keeping plans private means a lack of confidence. But in reality, silence is what keeps you in control. It protects your focus, shields you from doubt, and prevents unnecessary interference. Think about a high-stakes chess match. The best players don't announce their moves before they make them. They think, calculate, and execute in complete silence. The moment they reveal their strategy too soon, they lose the advantage. The same principle applies to life. The more you speak about your plans, the more you give others a chance to question, sabotage, or steal them. But when you move quietly, you eliminate distractions. You make it impossible for external forces to interfere with your progress. The biggest misconception people have is that sharing their plans will help them stay accountable. They believe that by telling others, they're reinforcing their commitment. But what actually happens is the opposite. Speaking Speaking too soon exposes them to three major threats. First, it invites unnecessary doubt. The moment you share a goal, people start analyzing it. Some will be supportive, but many will project their own fears onto you. They will question whether it's realistic. They will tell you about all the ways it could go wrong. They may even remind you of your past failures. And even if you don't believe them, their words linger. The more you hear doubt, the more it takes root in your mind. Second, it opens the door to competition. Not everyone will listen to your ideas and simply wish you well. Some will take what you've shared and act faster than you. In business, innovation, and creative industries, this happens all the time. Someone shares an idea too early, only to find that someone else has taken it, refined it, and executed it better. Third, it disrupts your focus. Every time you talk about what you're going to do, your brain shifts from execution mode to explanation mode. Instead of focusing on the work, you start thinking about how others perceive your plans. You waste time justifying your vision instead of building it. And as a result, progress slows down. This is why the smartest people in the world operate in silence. They don't explain themselves. They don't seek validation. They don't waste energy proving anything to anyone. They simply work. And when the results are undeniable, they let their success speak for itself. One of the most famous examples of the power of silence is Apple. Steve Jobs didn't reveal the iPhone until it was fully developed. There were no leaks, no early announcements, no unnecessary speculation. By the time the world knew about it, it was already a finished product, ready to dominate the market. This wasn't just marketing, it was strategy. If Jobs had announced the iPhone too soon, competitors would have had time to react. Investors would have questioned its viability. Skeptics would have planted doubt. But by keeping it hidden until the perfect moment, he ensured that when the iPhone was finally unveiled, there was nothing left to debate. The product spoke for itself. The same applies to the military. The most effective operations are carried out in complete secrecy. Plans are executed before the enemy even realizes what is happening. The most devastating victories are won before the opponent has time to respond. This is how you must approach your own goals. Treat them like a classified mission. Work in silence. Move strategically. Don't let unnecessary noise compromise your execution. If you truly want to maximize your potential, start thinking differently about the way you share information. Here's how. 1. Keep your goals private until you've made real progress. The best time to announce something is not when you've decided to do it. It's when you've already done it. Instead of saying, I'm going to write a book, write it first. Instead of saying, I'm going to start a business, launch it. Instead of saying, I'm going to get in shape, train in silence, and let the results show. 2. Be selective about who you trust with your plans. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Some people will support you. Others will unintentionally discourage you. And some will actively try to undermine you. Choose wisely. Only share your goals with people who will genuinely help you execute them. 3. Let your results speak. The most powerful thing in the world isn't a well-crafted plan. It's an undeniable reality. When you achieve something great, people won't care about what you said you were going to do. They will only care about what you've done. Most people are loud when they should be quiet and quiet when they should be loud. They talk too much about their plans, but hesitate when it's time to take action. They seek approval before they've accomplished anything, and then they wonder why their progress stalls. You must operate differently. You must understand that silence is a tool, a weapon, a tactical advantage. When you move in silence, you eliminate distractions. You reduce interference. You protect your vision. And when the time is right, when your success is no longer just an idea, but a reality, then, and only then, let the world see what you've built. Because in the end, silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Silence is power. Keeping your goals to yourself doesn't mean you should operate in complete isolation. Silence is powerful, but there are moments when sharing your vision can be necessary. The problem isn't talking. It's talking too soon and to the wrong people. The key to success is knowing when to speak and who to speak to. Some of the greatest failures in business, sports, and personal development happen not because people lack talent or discipline, but because they misplace their trust. They share their ideas with the wrong audience. They open up to critics instead of allies. They reveal plans before they are fully formed. And in doing so, they set themselves up for failure before they even begin. Silence should be the default, but there are strategic moments where speaking can accelerate progress rather than destroy it. If you do it correctly, the urge to tell people about your goals is natural. We want validation. We want encouragement. We want to feel accountable. But too often, sharing does the opposite. It weakens our resolve. That's why timing is everything. 1. Only speak when you need guidance, not approval. There's a difference between seeking expertise and seeking validation. If you're talking about your goals just to hear people say, "That's a great idea," stop. Praise won't move you forward. It will only create a false sense of accomplishment. But if you need insight, if you are at a crucial point where expert advice can prevent mistakes or refine your approach, then speaking makes sense. You are not looking for permission. You are looking for precision. 2. Only speak when you have taken action. Sharing an idea before you've started makes you vulnerable. But once you have something tangible, a prototype, early results, a working system, you have proof instead of just promises. Speaking at this stage isn't about speculation. It's about execution. When Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone, it wasn't an idea. It was a finished product. That's why it made an impact. The same principle applies to your goals. Don't talk about them until you have something real to show. 3. Only speak when collaboration is required. Some goals require teamwork. If your success depends on a business partner, an investor, or a mentor, keeping silent forever is not an option. But even then, what you say and how you say it matters. Instead of saying, "I have this idea I want to pursue," say, "I have built this and I need a specific skill set to scale it further." Instead of saying, "I plan to write a book," say, "I've written 3 chapters and I'm looking for feedback on the structure." 4. The difference? You're not just talking about the goal, you're already in motion. People take you more seriously when they see progress, not just potential. Just as important as when you speak is who you speak to. The wrong audience can kill your dream before it even begins. 1. Mentors and advisors, the builders. These are people who have been where you want to go. They don't just offer opinions. They provide actionable insight. They won't waste your time with vague encouragement or unnecessary doubts. Instead, they will give you strategies, corrections, and ways to move forward. Choose them wisely. A great mentor doesn't tell you what you want to hear. They tell you what you need to hear. 2. Trusted allies, the support system. These are the few people who genuinely want to see you succeed, without competition, jealousy, or hidden motives. They encourage you without inflating your ego. They challenge you without discouraging you. But even within this group, be selective. Not everyone needs to know every detail of your vision. Share only what is necessary for the support you need. 3. Strategic partners, the doers, not the talkers. Some goals require a team, but here's the key. Only involve people who can actively contribute to making the vision real. If someone is only interested in discussing the idea, but not in executing it, they don't need to be in the room. Surround yourself with doers, not talkers. Just as the right people can propel you forward, the wrong people can drag you down. There are 3 types of people who should never have access to your ambitions. 1. The skeptics, the doubters who drain you. Some people, no matter how great your idea is, will always find reasons why it won't work. They might not be malicious, but their negativity is infectious. They will project their own fears and failures onto you. Listen to constructive criticism, but don't waste time defending your dreams to people who will never believe in them. 2. The competitors, the opportunists who exploit you. Not everyone listens with good intentions. Some people take ideas and execute them faster than the ones who thought of them. In the business world, entire companies have been built by those who heard an idea early and capitalized on it first. If your goal has a competitive edge, silence is your best protection. 3. The passively interested, the gossipers who add no value. Some people don't actively support or sabotage your plans. They just listen. But these are the most dangerous people because they can spread your ideas without context. They can reveal information to the wrong audience, twist your vision, or create unnecessary noise around your plans. If someone has no stake in your success, they don't need to know your plans. Success isn't about staying silent forever. It's about knowing when to speak, what to say, and who to trust. Before you reveal your plans, ask yourself, am I speaking to seek validation, or am I speaking to gain knowledge? Have I already taken meaningful action, or am I still in the idea stage? Am I sharing this with someone who can help me execute, or just someone who will listen? When you answer these questions honestly, you'll realize that most conversations about your goals are unnecessary. Most people don't need to know what you're working on. The right people will see the results when they are ready. So move in silence. Execute before you announce. Build before you broadcast. Because in the end, your achievements will always be louder than your words. There is a moment in every person's life when they realize that talking about success and achieving success are two entirely different things. The world is filled with people who make grand announcements about their plans, what they're going to do, who they're going to become, how they're going to change their lives. But when you check back in a year, 5 years, even 10 years later, nothing has changed. Why? Because words don't create success. Actions do. There is a stark contrast between those who talk and those who execute. The people who constantly talk about their ambitions without ever following through are easy to recognize. They have a pattern. They make a declaration. They get an initial rush of excitement. They receive validation from others. And then they stop. They don't build momentum. They don't take the first real step. They remain stuck in an endless cycle of talking and planning, but never doing. Then there are those who move differently. They don't announce their every move. They don't seek external validation. Instead, they work in silence. They put in the hours, they grind through the setbacks. They focus relentlessly on execution. And when they finally reveal what they've been building, the world doesn't just hear about it, they see it. These are the people who win. The biggest reason people fall into the trap of excessive talking is because it feels productive. The brain rewards us with dopamine, the same chemical associated with actual achievement, when we talk about our goals. This creates an illusion of progress. When someone says, I'm going to start a business, and their friends respond with excitement and encouragement, their brain interprets that reaction as proof of progress. But nothing has actually been done. The business doesn't exist yet. There are no customers, no revenue, no real movement, just words. This is why so many people get stuck. They keep chasing that dopamine hit by talking about their goals instead of pursuing them. The solution? Detach from external validation. Stop seeking approval for intentions and start focusing on execution. The most successful individuals understand that real progress happens in silence. They know that recognition should be the byproduct of hard work, not a substitute for it. One of the best examples of this is Michael Jordan. Throughout his career, he was known for letting his performance do the talking. He didn't boast about how great he was going to be. He simply outworked everyone. While his competitors were giving interviews about their ambitions, he was in the gym, perfecting his game. And when game time came, his actions were undeniable. The same principle applies to business leaders. Elon Musk, despite being outspoken about his vision, doesn't spend time making promises about what he's going to do. He focuses on building. By the time the world sees what he's working on, it's already done. Steve Jobs never hyped up Apple's innovations before they were ready. He let the products speak for themselves. Jeff Bezos didn't spend years talking about how Amazon would dominate retail. He built quietly, obsessively, until the results became undeniable. They didn't just talk about winning. They won. If actions are what truly matter, why do so many people prefer to talk instead? Because taking action means embracing uncertainty, failure, and discomfort. Talking is easy. It requires no risk, no sacrifice, no struggle. It allows people to stay in their comfort zones while still feeling like they are moving forward. Action, on the other hand, is difficult. It demands resilience. It forces people to confront obstacles, self-doubt, and setbacks. It requires them to step into the unknown. This is why most people never follow through, because execution is uncomfortable and talking is safe. But here's the truth. Comfort is the enemy of success. Every great achievement in history was born out of discomfort, uncertainty, and relentless execution. If you want to break free from the cycle of talking and start achieving, you have to embrace the discomfort of action. If you're serious about turning words into results, here's what you need to do. 1. Set a no-talking rule. For the next 90 days, make a commitment. Don't talk about your goals, just act. Focus entirely on execution. Let people see the results instead of hearing about your plans. 2. Create a silent execution plan. Write down your goal. Break it into small, actionable steps. Set clear deadlines for each step. Execute without announcing your progress. 3. Measure results, not intentions. Instead of asking, "Am I working toward my goal?" ask, "What measurable progress have I made?" If the answer is nothing, then talking isn't the problem. Lack of execution is. Find an accountability system that works. Use a private progress journal instead of social media updates. Surround yourself with action takers, not talkers. Set internal deadlines and treat them like external obligations. 5. Let your results do the talking. When you finally achieve something significant, you won't need to say a word. People will notice. The impact of your work will be far more powerful than any announcement you could have made. In the end, no one remembers the people who talked about success. They remember the people who achieved it. Think about every person who has inspired you. Were they the ones who constantly talked about their ambitions? Or were they the ones who worked relentlessly, silently, until their success was undeniable? If you want to be remembered, let your results speak louder than your words. Stop seeking validation. Stop announcing your plans. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start executing. Start building. Start proving yourself through action. Because in the end, success doesn't come to those who talk about it. It comes to those who do it. The world doesn't need to hear what you intend to do. It only needs to see what you actually accomplish. No one respects words without proof. No one is impressed by empty promises. No one remembers the ones who said they were going to do something. They remember the ones who did it. This is where most people fail. They talk, they announce, they share their big plans, and then nothing happens. Time passes and they're still exactly where they were before, except now they've lost credibility. They've built expectations they couldn't meet. And worst of all, they've drained the fire they needed to actually execute. But not you. Because from this moment forward, you will move differently. You will stop telling people about your ambitions and start proving them with results. You will stop seeking validation and start seeking progress. You will stop talking about the future and start building it. You've come this far. You understand the truth now. Words are meaningless without action. Plans, ideas, ambitions, none of it matters unless you execute. Most people never make it past this point. They get inspired, they feel motivated, they tell themselves, I'm going to change. But then reality hits. The comfort of routine pulls them back. The need for validation returns. The fear of stepping into the unknown stops them before they even begin. But you are standing at a crossroads. You can either fall back into the cycle of talking, planning, and waiting, or you can step forward into the path of silent execution, where the only thing that matters is what you do. The world is not waiting for your announcement. No one is sitting around hoping to hear what you intend to do. The world moves forward with or without you. And 1 year from now, when you look back at this moment, there will be two versions of yourself. The first is the person who kept talking, kept dreaming, kept making excuses, and stayed exactly where they were. The second is the person who made a decision, right here, right now, to shut up and get to work. Which one will you be? This is the final test. For the next 90 days, say nothing, post nothing, explain nothing. Just build, just execute, just move forward. And when the time comes, when the results are undeniable, you won't need to say a single word. People will ask how you did it. They will wonder where it all came from. And you will simply smile because you will know, while they were talking, you were working. If you're ready to take that step, if you're done with the noise and excuses, make this commitment today. Take action, take control, and start now. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Content designed to push you, challenge you, and bring out the best version of yourself. I appreciate you being here, for investing in your growth, and for making the decision to step up. Keep moving forward. Keep building in silence. And when the time is right, let your success do all the talking. I wish you strength, focus, and relentless progress on your journey. See you in the next one.